Yo, what's up, everybody? How y'all doing, man? Good morning. Anyway, random thought. Hey, y'all was at work, man, talking to my homeboy, and we were talking about like movies and shit, man. And look, don't get me wrong, I'm a big movie nerd, like TV nerd. I love them, and in my older age, man, I love like horror movies. Anyway, so he got me thinking, man. I'm like, look, if if I was ever in a horror movie, man, it wouldn't even be a sequel for me, man, because I've been out of there at the beginning. Like not just at the beginning, like when shit started getting weird, I would have been gone. And I've been looking at these horror movies like these people stay in the same town and they have sequels. So that means this shit be happening all the time. And these people still in this damn town. Like for instance, look at this shit. Yo, this movie right here. Get my ass out of the way. Back. Yeah, Scream. Yeah, that one. Anyway, Scream. First of all, I don't understand the fact that why the fuck we gotta die because somebody's mama was a hoe. We ain't got shit to do with that, man. She's mad somebody's daddy. He gets mad. He goes on a killing spree. And then all of a sudden his whole family fucking crazy. And spoiler alert, in the new generation version of this damn movie, he got a kid that came out of no fucking where because he was dating the main chick in high school in the first one. Anyway, but now everybody's crazy because this chick's mama wanted $40. I would have been gone. First of all, I can't even trust nobody in the Scream Town because everybody's a fucking serial killer. I've been out of there. Another one, and this the prime one. The prime one. This one. First of all, this used to be my favorite horror movie of all times as a kid. Now I don't even understand what the fuck is going on. First of all, the reason why I wouldn't even last in this damn town, because y'all know this shit goes down every fucking year at Halloween. Every fucking year at Halloween, you know that this motherfucker right here, this bitch right here, is gonna be killing motherfuckers. Why the hell are y'all still there? Bitch, by September, I would have been packed and gone. Motherfucker, you in high school. Where the fuck you gonna go? I don't fucking know. I'm gonna have to be a man that damn day because I'm getting the fuck out of there. I don't understand it, man. No. And then on top of that, how I knew I was being gone, spoiler alert again, in the newer movie, the whole fucking town was whooping his ass. He came back and killed all of them. Bitch, I'm gone. I would have been gone from the beginning. I would have been out of there. I don't have to worry about Jamie Lee Curtis ass. Nobody. I'm gone because this nigga got a crush on his sister. Bitch, I'm gone. That's just my random thought, man. Peace.
Yo, what's good, everybody? Yo, this is your favorite big little brother, Eric G, and welcome to a brand new episode of Random Thoughts with Eric G. Hey, y'all, this is season 5, y'all, and I told y'all this season I'm doing something different. I can't wait. Hey, before we get started today, y'all, let me introduce my guest. She's one half of the podcast couple because it was on. How you doing, Jessica?
I'm doing so well. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Oh, appreciate it. I'm excited too. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, I
Hey,
think this will be a good one.
I hope so. I hope so. This season I want to do something different. I never did a movie. Let's speak about movie reviews and stuff like that. And I know that your podcast, you and your partner Zach talk about movies and television. You want to give a breakdown of what y'all do?
Yeah, absolutely. So we host a podcast called Because It Was On. And our tagline that we always use on our podcast is like, we're like that film podcast, but for people who like to talk about that episode of Saved by the Bell where Jesse got addicted to caffeine pills. So basically what that means is like, we like to, everybody likes to talk about film and really analyze it and what is the message of this film, why it was created, and dissect it. And we think that people have for a long time overlooked not just television, but specifically sitcoms as a work that people put a lot of time and effort into creating and writing and developing. And I think that means it's like worthy of taking a look at, and it's worthy of sort of looking at seriously and understanding how it is influenced our culture and how our culture has sort of been like spit out into sitcoms as well. So we look at sitcoms and we take
Okay.
a deep dive. Yeah, super super fancy way of saying that we sit around and like to talk about like how people talk about PMS and sitcoms.
And you know what? I've actually found y'all. I'm trying to make. I know it's on TikTok. I found you through TikTok, and and y'all have like millions to me videos, and
Yeah,
yeah. But I actually was enjoying y'all take on these different shows, and I was
yeah.
thinking that a lot of the shows that y'all was talking about is shows I remember watching as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with my grandmother, we would watch Nick at Night, and we'll watch the nanny and
Yes.
everything. So I love y'all takes on these shows.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole idea behind it is like we grew up watching Nick at Night and like that was prime for us. And so we were just like two like 10-year-olds just
Yeah.
watching shows made for adults like 30 years ago. And so just thinking about like how do we just, you know, create a platform to talk about it. And so we have the podcast. And then, of course, we have TikTok where you found us. Lots of people find us
Mhm.
on TikTok. So you can definitely check us out there too, folks listening. If you prefer more bite sized content, you can check us out on TikTok at Because It Was On.
So before we get into what we're doing tonight, real quick question: what has been your favorite show you have watched that y'all reviewed?
Oh, that's a really good question. I'll think about like shows that because I have my favorite of like what I already kind of knew, and some of these
Uh,
shows we kind of knew, some we didn't. So favorite one that I had already known, it had been a favorite of mine growing up, was Cheers. I love
okay,
Cheers. I grew up on it.
okay,
But the one that I didn't know as well and kind of discovered through the podcast, Who's the Boss? Ended up loving it. Never
okay.
had watched it. Ended up it's the way Zach and I talk about it is the most sitcom-y sitcom to ever do the game. Like it
Right,
is so
right.
sitcom-y. But there's so many out there that I want to like dig into more and pull apart that we haven't even touched. I just recently finished watching like almost all of Blackish, so I want to throw Blackish
Mhm.
on an episode here soon. It's a
Okay,
great show.
okay.
So lots of stuff, lots of content we haven't touched yet.
Right. And like I said, I can't wait for the episode that we're gonna be doing. The
That's
Facts of
right.
Life episode. I've
I'm so
watched.
excited.
I've you don't understand. I have watched almost. I think I watched with 5 seasons of Facts of Life in the last 2 days.
Yes, yes. I
Catch
and
up,
I know,
man.
I know you're a true fan because when I was like, here's some episodes to watch, you're like, no, well, where's the episode where Tootie meets Jermaine Jackson? And that's how I know you're a real fan because that is the
Oh yeah.
nuttiest episode of Facts of Life to ever exist. I can't wait to talk about
I
it.
was just dying. I was just dying.
This is the best. This is the best episode.
I was
Oh
dying. Like,
man. I feel
oh my god.
Like Jermaine Jackson at this point is now more famous, like more remembered for the Facts of Life episode he was on than that album that he was
You know,
promoting.
I would love to interview Kim Fields. I'm like, out of all the Jacksons, Jermaine.
Out of all the Jackson.
I
Oh
would
my
have.
god, yeah. I'd give anything to have that like that prop of that's just like the bust of Jermaine Jackson's head that Tootie made in the episode. I would love that.
Oh my god. So the reason why you're here today, we're doing a movie review. I got a chance to speak to you and Zach, and we talked about I guess diving deep into two different types of genre movies. Um, one of the movies that's another movie that the movie y'all suggest for me to watch is honestly one of my favorite movies. Death Becomes
Yes.
Her, and the movie that hold on a second, I'm sorry, my son is calling me.
Oh, no worries.
But yeah, the movie I suggest y'all to watch would be The Wood. Was
Mm-hmm.
one of my favorite movies as a kid. It's like a coming of age movie.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm so
No
sorry.
worries. No worries. Happens all the
These
time.
are. I might cut this out. uh,
No worries.
let's see. All right. So I'm back. So anyway, so the movie we decided to give each other movies to watch, and like I said, Death Becomes Her is one of my favorite movies. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play the trailer of both movies. So we can talk about what we like, what we didn't like, what was the best part of it to you, and what do you remember from the movie that stood out.
Awesome. Sounds great.
All right. So I'd rather go first since I'm a gracious host. So
Okay.
and this is one of my favorite movies. So I can find it. Thing here.
Know that it's worth every treasure on earth to be young at heart.
Some people will go to any length to stay young forever.
Is that someone?
It's Madeline Ashton. Oh, she was a big star in the 60s.
I thought she was dead.
Oh, madam, you look younger every day.
Thank you, Rose.
But Madeline Ashton and her old friend Helen Sharp
I've lost men to her before. Mad Hill!
are about to go too far.
A touch of magic. Drink that potion, and you'll never grow even one day older.
Bottoms up.
No warning.
Now a warning?
Siempre viva! Live forever!
Ernest, I'm in the morgue. They think I'm dead.
You are, but you're not.
Are you telling me it doesn't hurt when I do
It
this?
doesn't hurt.
She's dead!
She's dead, Ernest.
Now he's dead.
He's dead? Ernest is dead? Everybody's dead!
You pushed me down the stairs.
I'm so sweaty.
I don't think it's sweat, honey. I think you're defrosting.
It's a lie.
Universal Pictures presents Meryl Streep, Bruce Willis,
It's a miracle!
and Goldie Hawn.
Look at me. I'm soaking wet.
Death Becomes Her.
I just have to make a telephone call.
Hey, so before we can get started, before we can talk about anything, first of all, I just remember being a little kid and watching this on TV, and it was me and my brother's favorite movie. We was little kids, and it's like to me, it's like it was watching like a live action cartoon.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? It really does have that vibe to it. That's a good call
Right.
out. Like the way that they do all sort of like the body morphing and like extreme special effects with like how they stretch their bodies and like move around with
Right.
these severe injuries. Yeah, it's very
Yeah, and
cartoonish.
so if anybody don't know, well, first of all, the trailer doesn't. The trailer has way more clips than the movie does, but
Yeah.
it's a lot of newer scenes in the trailer. But breakdown on what the movie is about. The movie is about it's about two best friends, frenemies. Um, and the fact is that they've been in competition with each other their whole lives. One is a successful actress. The other one, I'm trying to make sure she was an author,
Yep.
right? She was a
Yep.
author, and they've been at each other for odds. And I think in the '70s, one of the friend was Helen. She decided to introduce her fiance, played by Bruce Willis, to her frenemy, played by Meryl Streep. And Meryl Streep decided she's going to take him. And not only did she take him and made his life miserable. So
Yep.
a crazed Goldie Hawn, aka Helen, decided she's going to do the best plan to get him back. She lost all this weight and got her body snatched all together, looking good, and things went downhill.
That's right. Yeah. They're offered a potion which will allow them to live forever as young and gorgeous people. But after they take the potion, they're then told they must be very protective of their bodies because while they can live forever, once a part of their body is broken, like that's pretty much it. Like you got to figure it out from there. Like it's not regenerating; it's only preserved as is. So then, as you can imagine, hijinks ensue, as they always do with tales of immortality.
And I love it, but the best part was that they decided to marry a mortician who was able
Right.
to put their bodies back together. So, like, what do you remember? What was your first memory of this movie?
Yeah, like you, I remember watching it on TV first. I definitely caught the TV cut of it growing up more than anything. And I think I had an awareness of who Meryl Streep was because she's always kind of been like this mega star. So I knew Meryl Streep was in it. I was like, okay, let's go ahead and watch this. And I think like you, it does it holds the attention of a younger viewer because it is so silly and so cartoonish. And it's such a campy film where like they're not holding back with their emotional delivery on anything. So it's very easy to pick up and understand what's happening. You watch it again as an adult and you can see sort of all these layers of everything that's going on there. But definitely my first memories of it were similar to yours in that like it's a colorful movie with like a lot of silliness going on. It was just a lot of fun.
You know, it's complete. With my introduction to it was kind of opposite. I knew who Goldie Hawn was prior to the movie.
Okay.
I didn't know who Meryl Streep was. So I knew Goldie Hawn for what was it? Overboard and different types of movies she had done, and I knew she was a comedic actress. The thing that really stuck out to me was I think I didn't know this until I was almost an adult. That it was Bruce Willis that played the mortician because he looked completely different than anything he ever done.
He looks different and he's playing against type at this point. So up until this point, he's he started Bruce Willis started on a sitcom. He started on Moonlighting. That was kind of like his first big break in Hollywood. And he was kind of typecast almost for a while as sort of like this charming guy who did more comedy. And it wasn't until he like made a switch for Die Hard into like an action career. And then from there was like only action. And so it was actually like kind of a pivot for him to do this film. And a lot of people were concerned like for his career switching back into comedy and like going against sort of the action hero type that he had built in Hollywood up to that point.
And he did a hell of a job in this.
He did so good.
And like I said, as a kid watching this, to see the hijinks, to see that the best scene to me, if anybody haven't watched it, was the fight scene between Goldie Hawn and Meryl Streep, and they going at it, and after Meryl Streep shot her with a shotgun and put a big hole in the middle of her stomach.
Yes.
That is hands down and she's trying to keep her head up and to keep putting her head. That is the best scene. What was a standout for you? What was one thing that stood out for you about this movie? I know you said it was your favorite. Which one stood out?
Yeah. It's definitely a favorite of mine. It's I know it's like one of Zach's like top films. For me, like the fight scene is really good, and actually this film is like it's considered to be for its era pretty revolutionary in special effects. It's directed by Robert Zemeckis, who is considered like a very good technical director, who does a lot of work that is like special effects based work. So I'm just pulling up a couple of his other films that people might know him for. Yeah, so he did Back to the Future, Forrest Gump, Pinocchio more recently, Roger Rabbit. So he's really, really good at these like highly technical special effects shots. And so this movie was kind of considered that a special effects movie more than anything when it first came out. So that fight scene is great because, you know, you have Goldie Hawn hitting Meryl Streep with a shovel in her head spinning around, Goldie Hawn getting shot and you see directly through, and all of those stunts were pretty meticulously done. Which for this type of movie is interesting because like, if you look at this movie, it's kind of hard to classify like where it actually belongs in terms of like comedy.
Yeah. So would you
versus
consider like
something else.
a horror comedy? Not horror comedy, a suspense comedy or something like that. Something
There's
like
a
that.
lot, honestly, there's a lot of horror elements to it. I don't think that that's like a wrong classification to call it like a horror comedy. I definitely think it's a dark comedy. That's for sure.
There we go. Yeah.
It's a dark comedy, and like with comedy you don't often get like a high degree of special effects required in this way.
Right.
So it's very interesting in that way. But like I think what always like I remember from the movie like takeaway is the last scene when like the ending of the curse of the film, right, is yes, they live forever and they're young and beautiful, but their bodies essentially like fall to pieces because they don't care for them. And the curse that these women have to live with for choosing to live with forever is that they're stuck together, right? And the last parts of the movie is like they're just like completely falling apart, and these two women have to like walk down the stairs together to like their fate, which is it's just them holding each other together through the end of time. And I just like remember them like cracking to pieces and like falling apart and like having to keep each other together while also at the same time like hating each other. And I think that's the scene that I remember the most.
Oh my goodness! But you know what? One thing I do remember, I remember that Meryl Streep did a interview probably about a few years ago where she talked about that this movie is her last movie she would ever do special effects with, because it was during that fight scene. I love her and Goldie Hawn was going back and forth. I think she actually hit Goldie Hawn with a shovel, and for real, and caused Goldie Hawn to get stitches in her head. So that's her last movie she will ever do.
Yeah, and it's so meticulous when you do special effects like of this nature, because it's like if you're even just a couple of like half an inch off from your mark or from where you were supposed to hit or how you were supposed to hit, that you have to redo it and you have to reset everything. And I guess it's quite meticulous work. So I could see why she said no, no more.
Hey, but like I said, it's one of my favorite movies. I hope everybody get a chance to check it out. Like I said, it's a childhood classic for me. I will go back. I would sit here and watch this movie like it's my first time every single time.
Yeah. It's great. I agree with you completely. Highly recommend it.
Highly recommend it. And also, don't get it. I want everybody to understand. Don't get into the special effects look kind of whack. It's the early 90s special effects, so it's going to look kind of crazy. But
they were great for the time. Like now they're dated, of course, but some of them like still kind of hold up. I think when you like see through the shot in Goldie Hawn's stomach, this still holds up. Like the special effect is still great.
The sheer fact that I think that's the one scene that separates everything. It separates the special effect for everything. Is the fact that when she comes out the water, you can see the water pouring out of her stomach. That's the best scene to me, because it actually it's not just a glued on effect. You can actually see the water pouring through her. I think that's the best. That was one of the best scenes.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree. The effects still hold up. They're great.
Right. So I'm going to move on to another movie of mine. And I wanted to see, can you speak about this one a little bit? I don't know if you get a chance to watch it.
I did, of course.
All right. So let me play the trailer.
Let's see. Wait. Yo, you the new kid, right? I'm from North Carolina. Yo, you play ball, Mike? I play baseball. Baseball? By the way, my name is Mike. Big Mike in the wood. Oh, what's the wood? It's not what you think it is. Nah, it's Inglewood, California. That's where I grew up. Me and my boys. Me, Roland, and Slim. Well, I never thought I'd see the day Roland get married. Man, we got 3 hours till this wedding kicks off, and can't nobody find him.
Tell that fool he could at least face me like a man.
Get back in that car, because you marrying Lisa.
Y'all act like you did in high school.
Hey, Mike, I dare you to grab her booty. I will give you $1. You remember the bet? You remember the bet, Mike? You know I remember the bet. Do you remember the bet? Oh! I was thinking about all them school dances. I used to have all the girlies, right? Oh. Yeah, you can dance, right? Oh, yeah. I'm like dance fever. Wait, let me show you something. All right? Ooh. Girl, I'm gonna show you something. Watch this. Oh, like that.
I'm getting tired. I think I'm gonna stop.
Y'all just jealous, that's all. Yo, you know what, man? You need to just grow your ass up, man, and handle your responsibility.
Man, I just don't want to be wondering what if.
If he didn't want to get married, he shouldn't have asked.
He said, I love you, I want to marry you.
Go away, Roland.
I mean, man, females get way too much power with this, man.
Stop.
Let's make this a physical thing.
I'm not ready.
How long we been going together?
Is it supposed to look like that? What you doing? You don't think I'm gonna give it up after 1 week? Wow! I see not a lot has changed in high school.
The joke's over. Pass the clothes.
Yeah.
Close.
Back in the days when I was young, I'm not a kid anymore. But some days I sit and wish I was a kid again. Back in the days when I was young, I'm not a kid anymore. But some days I sit and wish I was a kid again. Back in the days
play this game for life.
I'm glad he got you guys for friends.
Yeah, I like that. Back it. Hey, yeah. Back it. Hey, yeah.
All right. Yo, that's one of my favorite movies, The Woods. So can you break down what you got from that?
Yes.
The plot and everything.
Yes, it is definitely, as you mentioned earlier in the conversation, it is a coming of age movie for sure. And essentially what we open up and it is Roland's wedding day. Roland played by Taye Diggs. And so he's getting married, but surprise, surprise, he's nowhere to be found. And so his two best friends, Slim and Mike is kind of the person through whose eyes we see the story. So Slim and Mike played by Omar Epps, Slim by Richard T. Jones. They have to go find Roland. And so they find him, and that's sort of one part of the story, the modern day part of the story. But then it cuts back the whole time to the three of them growing up together as kids in Inglewood, California, and very much coming of age, right? Your first love and your first major girlfriend and heartbreak and friendship all throughout the way. And so we're sort of intersplicing the two stories, following Mike as he is in love with Alicia, a girl from school, and you kind of see them on again, off again growing up. And it all culminates with they find Roland. They basically talk him into going back and getting married. And then we end with the wedding where Roland gets married and Mike reunites with Alicia after all of these years apart. So that's the plot.
Appreciate it. Hey, but I tell you about it. The reason why this is one of my favorite movies. First thing, I'm from North Carolina, so So that's the best thing for me. So when we was kids, and you see that, I guess a shout out in a movie, we were like, "Oh, he's from North Carolina."
Yeah, at one point, Roland I think had the Panthers hat on. So yeah, they were definitely repping North Carolina. He had to take it off to go into the liquor mart.
Yeah. So like I said, I love this story because for me, it tells. I feel like everybody can find some point in their life in this story, no matter what race you are, no matter what your background, because we all have a situation where we were high school kids, we were middle school kids, we trying to navigate through being new at school or trying to have friends. And I feel like this story told it the best way.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. It's definitely it's a very classic coming of age story. And it does, like you said, it doesn't matter what perspective you're coming from in life. Why coming of age stories are always so attractive is because most adults have come of age at some point, you would hope.
Right.
And so we all have the experience of a first love, right? And we all have the experience of, friends and making friends, and the childhood friends are always the friends that you remember as the best ones, because when you're a kid, what else you got to do besides just hang out with your friends? You don't have any real life responsibilities or anything else to care about. So those relationships are always the sweetest. But yeah, I felt like it was a very relatable movie, and I'm not its target audience, right? I'm just some, white girl in Chicago. It's not they didn't make it for me, but I thought there was a lot to relate to.
But that's what I love about these type of movies that we both pick for each other, because outside looking in, you wouldn't think that death becomes her would be one of my favorite movies. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
And like I said, The Wood, to me, I even see it like I look at my sons now, and I can see that same story is playing out with my teenage sons. And you know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? And you hoping that the outcome would be that they finally got it together and
Yes.
they moving forward into something better.
True. Yeah. That's a huge part of the movie too, is like that is
Mhm.
the ultimate message, is about like, remember where you came from and like the friendships that you've built, but like
Mhm.
you have to choose to take the next step in your life to like move
Mhm.
on from that. So it is partially a movie about like letting go of your youth and your childhood, and like allowing that to help you into the next step in your life, because you see like Roland, part of why he doesn't want to get married is like he doesn't want to have to move to follow his fiance to her next job, because he doesn't want to leave his friends. That's the same reason Mike didn't end up with Alicia, right? Because she went off to
Mhm.
Columbia in New York, and he got into a school in New York, but he didn't go because he wanted to
Mhm.
stay near his friends. So it's in the ending we see him asking like, well, how cold is it in New York? Like maybe I could make it there, so
Mhm.
that he's realizing that like your friends are always your first love in a lot of ways, but you can still have them and have that relationship. But once you get to a certain point in your life, when you're no longer just like, it's a bunch of free time to just hang out with your friends all the time, you have to like change what that
Right,
relationship
right.
looks like. And it doesn't mean it's any worse, but like it's just you're in a different spot, and like you got to move to the next stage. And I
Oh
think
man,
we've
see,
all
I
been
love. I
there.
said, I love, so you break it, you break it down so eloquently. I love this. So you make it sound. Oh God,
It's a
but I
good
do hope everybody
movie.
gets a chance to watch it. It's a good
Yeah,
movie.
I saw it was produced by MTV Studios. Did it run on MTV a lot back in the day? Do you remember?
Oh, if remember as a kid, I'll be honest with you. Let me tell you how I remember watching this movie. Um, VHS. I remember that
Oh,
it
nice.
didn't run. Now it probably runs on. It probably ran on MTV probably in the early 2000s.
Hmm.
But
Okay.
I remember as a little kid, man, because like I'm from the 90s, so you know what I'm saying. So I remember a lot of these shows and
Yep.
movies. But I remember just we rented the movie and we sat there and watched it. And at that time, it was a lot of black cinema movies that was coming out from
Yeah.
the late 90s. So and this right here was fell in the line of that black. They call it a black comedy, black cinema comedy, and a lot of movies fell in that line. And I think that this movie here stood out to me because it just had such a great story behind it. And
Hmm.
you was able to laugh. You were able to watch Mike,
Yeah.
this country guy, comes into this town and becomes part of the group, even after getting beat up a couple times. So it was great.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely really good. And it has like a really powerhouse cast. Like it has Omar
Mhm.
Epps pre Love and Basketball, like before he was in
Right.
Love and Basketball. It has Taye Diggs, who's gone on to have a pretty prolific career as
Right.
well. So like the cast in this, the main three, are
Right.
so good. They
But
really do a great job.
also if you watch these movies, a lot of these movies had the same cast recycled.
Oh, okay.
So as you said, Love and Basketball, Alicia is Sanaa Lathan,
Hmm.
who also played Mike Epps' girlfriend in Love and
Yes.
Basketball.
Yeah, yeah. They both, like, I feel like most of this cast went on to have a pretty solid career after
Right,
this movie. They
right.
definitely show up a lot.
I mean, and I love that they showed up in each other's films throughout the years.
Exactly.
Because,
Yeah.
like I said, you had Sanaa Lathan and Taye Diggs, the best man rag behind this, and it went on from there. I mean, I think that like I said, I love that type of storytelling. I don't feel like it's going to ever happen again, though.
Interesting, where like they use kind of the same ensemble over and
Yes.
over.
Hmm.
Okay.
So, what
Yeah.
do you think? So, what is your takeaways from both movies? What are these both movies you feel like you liked and you didn't like?
Yeah. Interesting question. So they're very different in a lot of ways. So Death Becomes Her, in terms of like what I liked, what I didn't like.
Hmm.
What I like about Death Becomes Her is it's a very campy movie.
Hmm.
Everything about it is very exaggerated. You're seeing actors in parts that you don't normally see them in. They're kind of all playing against type in a lot of
Hmm.
ways. like even Goldie Hawn starts the movie like in a fat suit, right? And like she's almost more of the straight man in the show from a comedy lens. And so they're all kind of playing against type, but they're doing a great job. It's just like a very unexpected movie. And I think it has a very unique take on eternity and living forever. I feel like you see this a lot in a lot of films and a lot of television, a lot of books. It's just repeated over and over, this idea of like immortality and what that means. And so I think it's just it's an interesting take on it, that like you have immortality, but you don't have like indestructibility. Like you could live forever as just like itty bitty pieces of yourself, like a broken vase, which I think is interesting. You don't see that a lot.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like what I don't like about it, honestly, there's not a whole lot I don't like about it. If I'm really honest with you,
I understand.
I love it. I love the movie. What about you for Death Becomes Her? What anything you like? Don't like?
What Death Becomes Her? Honestly, like you said, it's a wacky movie, and it's a movie you cannot take serious.
No.
If you and I think that it ranged with a certain generation in time. I don't think this newer generation will really appreciate it as much as we did.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, that was the first time for us seeing this type of high tech CGI and scenes where I feel that that these newer kids who've seen Avatar wouldn't understand.
True.
So I do love the fact that it's a childhood nostalgia for me.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that like I said, the cast. I think it was honestly the perfect cast.
Agreed.
I could not see. There's supposed to be talks of a remake. I can't see nobody else playing. I can't see anybody playing this role other than the three people that played it.
I don't know. Like, I feel like it doesn't need to be remade. But I feel like, I don't know, maybe that's just like what you say when you get older. You're just saying it doesn't need to be remade.
It was told that I think they're supposed to have was it what's her name? From the Princess Diary.
Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway. They said Anne Hathaway was supposed to play one of the characters. And
I could see that.
I
think I would cast in the Meryl Streep role. I think I'd cast Jennifer Lawrence in the Meryl Streep role. I think she could do it. I also feel like she's not that busy. I don't know what she kind of fell off after Hunger Games.
No,
I don't know where
she got 2 movies coming out. 2 movies.
Yeah, that's true. She's making a comeback, so maybe that's a good cast for her. Then she's making a comeback. She's on her way back up. So I think you put Jennifer Lawrence in the Meryl Streep role, and then I think Anne Hathaway could do the Goldie Hawn role.
I don't know. I'm trying to think. I still can't see. I can't see based on. I know they can be funny, but I can't see them doing this type of comedy.
A lot of really physical comedy.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe Jennifer Lawrence. Maybe Jennifer Lawrence because her new movie is more physical comedy.
True. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and then I don't know for the Bruce Willis role who exactly I'd pick off the top of my head.
Someone said Harry Styles, and I can't see that.
Harry Styles, I feel like, Harry Styles, he was in the Don't Worry, Darling. I never saw it, but I heard he wasn't that great of an actor. So I don't know. I don't know if I'd throw him in that role. Yeah. I think I'd try to grab somebody from like the Marvel universe.
So Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, so I think Chris Hemsworth would actually be a great choice. Or Chris Evans. One of the Chris's.
Yeah, because it's got to be a role that's going to separate them from who we know them as.
Right. So exactly.
But like I said, it's going to be, to me, if they do remake, I don't think I'll be able to get into it. I'm so big on picking and comparing.
No. Yeah, I agree. I don't think they need it, but who knows? Maybe they'll do great things with it. You never know.
Right. So, but as a, I guess what I don't like about it. What can I say I don't like about it? Because to me, it's a great movie. What I don't like about it, I guess, the pace kind of goes real fast and slow down and goes fast.
That's what again. I was thinking. Yeah, when I was like racking my brain for like what I don't like about it. Yeah, pacing is a little strange. It's a little bit of a long movie for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I do feel like it could have a better ending. Well, I don't know. No, I can't say that. The ending was honestly one of the best parts too. Um,
It's definitely not a
well,
happy ending. That's for
but
sure.
it's to me. I laughed so hard at the ending, but
It's good.
but like I don't know. Like, will we end at a funeral? Should we end at a funeral? Should we?
Mm-hmm.
Should Bruce Willis had probably lived longer, and he lived for a long damn time.
Yeah.
But I like said, like I don't know. I wonder if he should have drunk the potion, or I don't know. I think it should have been more depth into his life after death.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean the
But
whole
as
movie is about comparing his journey to theirs in terms of like he doesn't want to live forever in the same way that they do. Um so yeah, so the question of should he have drank it is an interesting one.
Mhm.
I think if they do a reboot, it'd be interesting to do something with that, right? Like that
Right.
kind of question. And maybe he does drink it in the new one or something like that, just to do something different. Because I think that was part of the central tension of the film is like him refusing to be like these women who's like kind of he partially ruined their lives and then takes no real responsibility for it.
I feel like he fell into the trap of their evilness.
A little bit.
I feel like he was. They didn't. Neither one of them cared about him. It was just to make the other
I
one
mean,
jealous.
I think Goldie Hawn did up front, right? Goldie Hawn cared
Okay.
about him, and he left her because like Meryl Streep looked better at the
Well,
time.
but like if you go back to the beginning when she said that it happens before, she has always taken men from me.
Yes, yeah.
So I think that Bruce
She was
Willis'
trying to
character was
show
like,
off her
no,
prize. Yeah,
yeah, I think just yeah, he was this high tech surgeon. So I
right.
got one over you. It was. I don't think it's the fact of love for him at all.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think any of them loved each
I don't think at
other.
all.
That's for sure.
As for the wood to be like I said, I love the coming of age story.
Yeah,
What I love about that movie is you see the unity of three brothers getting together,
yeah,
and you watch them. It makes you want to compare what you went through as a child to who you are now.
100%.
And I love that. Like I said, when I watch that movie, I actually go back into me being a teenager and when I had my friends and what we did as kids, and and now we grown and neither of us talk to each other now, but we just it made me tell these stories. When I tell these stories to my sons, they're like, "You did that?" Like, yes, this is like this is how it played in
Yeah,
my head. Just this movie.
yeah,
Um, what I can say I don't like about the movie is sometimes the jokes wasn't well executed.
yeah,
A lot of the times it kind of fell flat in here and there. But to me, I do
yeah.
love that it ended on a high note.
Yeah, I can totally understand that. And it's like it's a movie of its time, so like I think there are also jokes that don't like always age the best and like don't breed for modern audiences the way they did back then. I think I don't know for sure. It kind of feels like a little bit of the filmmaker who created it. It seems like I could read it as like this is an early career movie for them in terms of like they're just learning how to do this because like you said, there's some stuff that like maybe with some more iterations of the script could have been a little tighter, a little sharper. But obviously it wasn't bad. I really liked it too. And honestly, part of what I think about it is like a lot of coming of age stories you get, or maybe a better way to phrase it is like, as like a white person who ends up by default getting fed like a lot of media made for white people,
Right.
is that like whenever you get like a black coming of age story, it always has like elements of tragedy in it.
Oh, got you. Right.
It's always like somebody's gonna get shot. It's gonna be like like drug running or whatever, right? All those and like not to invalidate those stories because like lots of people have that story and that's fine. It is very rare to be given like a story about like a black coming of age story where like it's so like it's very wholesome and I feel like probably very true to life to a lot of people who like grew up in Englewood who like yeah shit was going on, right? And they have it in the movie like shit's going on but like you're still just living your normal day-to-day life in a way that's like very relatable to a bunch of people across all cultures, all races, all genders. And like I think the movie's actually really important in that way, because like I feel like if more people saw it, like it helps to humanize people who are growing up in these situations, to like show that it's not just like this like, you know, tragic situation of like drug running and gang banging and all that kind of stuff all the time.
I love that you said that, because I do feel that especially in the 90s, a lot of the black comedy movie, black films was what does benefits off of trauma. Boys in the
Totally.
Hood did, Miss Society, South Central. Everything was based around trauma and how we overcame the trauma. And I love the fact that this movie, we knew it was stuff going on, but they didn't focus on
Yeah.
that. It
It's
focused
not about
on
that.
it's about these friends and how we are making it through this journey.
Exactly.
Even I think the biggest, like, I guess, crime thing that happened was the store get robbed, and while they're in the store, and then they decided to go off with the robbers. But
right.
I think that but I love that. I love how he told the story through that. Like, this is the girl I want to talk to his brother, and he actually likes me now.
Right.
And
right. Yeah. And then he says, like, it's crazy how like 20 minutes ago, I was so worried because I was getting pulled over by the police. But as soon as I was at the dance and I saw all the girls, I just forgot it. And like, that's kid brain, like total 13-year-old boy brain. Like it was good.
And I love that. I love, like you said, it didn't focus on just the negative. And
exactly.
You rarely seen the negative. Even when they was fighting with each other. I love that scene.
Yep, it's at its heart, it's like a very wholesome story with a happy ending. And like is like as like a white person, like we are so rarely shown those stories about Black people. It is always like has to be wrapped up in some sort of like trauma. And again, I don't want to invalidate that because like that's important. Those are important stories too. But I think it's important to have both things, and like for those broad narratives to be shared that way. So it's like, I honestly didn't see, I'd never seen The Wood until you recommended that we watch it. And I think it's just kind of a shame that I hadn't seen it before. And I know a lot of people probably haven't. A lot of people like in my circle probably haven't.
And I love that. I wanted to get a chance, and I knew that you probably haven't seen that movie before. And I wanted you to actually get a chance, because I do think that Black cinema is something that's always been considered as low budget.
Totally.
And a lot of people doesn't talk about it. It don't get a lot of support in the movies. It's always a straight to DVD movie. But I love that this. I remember when this came to the movies, and my brother went to see it with his friends, and they was teenagers at the time, and they loved it. But I appreciate what you said about it. It's not all tied up into trauma, and I love that. I think this would be a great movie for anybody in your circle to watch and venture out to.
Agreed.
I think the same thing for me too, when it comes to movies like Death Becomes Her, because what we see in my circle, my friends, a lot of people they haven't watched movies like, be honest with, quote unquote, a white movie, or quote unquote a movie that wouldn't catch our attention or catch how we feel. But I feel like that type of movie separates who we are from the actual art, because it's actually a very funny movie. It's very well filmed.
Totally.
And I think we all should get a chance to watch that.
Yeah. I mean, that's the ultimate power, right? That's why media is so powerful, regardless of what form that media is because like it does allow people to hear stories and see points of view that they don't encounter in their regular day-to-day life, right? There's probably plenty of people who spend most of their life never talking to somebody with like a different background than them, whether that be like race, class, whatever it might be. And so media is a really powerful way to communicate that. And so I think having more films that just show like a different experience than yours is so important. That's why I should watch more movies by Black creators, and so should everybody. I should watch more movies by Latin creators, Asian creators, men, women. You know, that diversity is really needed. And that's why I think like talking about Black cinema, like you mentioned, is important. Talking about television shows, sitcoms, like me and my co-hosts do on our podcast, is important because those are ways that stories are told to different people about different people. And so I think it's just important to understand what are they even trying to say.
Right. So basically, what we're saying to everybody: get your ass out of your comfort zone.
Amen. Seriously, it really is.
But,
It really is important.
All right, so we wrapping up at the end of this right here. Let me give you. I'm gonna do a little quick game real quick. If you don't mind.
Sure.
I got
let's do it.
I got a few more minutes. So I'm gonna name two shows, two sitcoms, and you got to tell me which one would you pick. That's your top favorite. That's your favorite.
Okay.
Okay. All right, and you got to tell me why. You got to give me one good reason why.
Okay.
All right.
Let's do it.
All right. Let's start off. We can go old school. My favorite. You have I Love Lucy versus The Honeymooner.
Oh, interesting. I'm gonna go with I Love Lucy. They're both good shows. They're both really good shows. But I think Lucy was a pioneer both in front of and behind the camera. So she was like basically one of the very first like very famous women who started a comedy, but also like had her own studio and pushed for more representation. Like we were just talking about how important representation is, right? Push for more representation of like Latin actors and those sorts of things to actually be playing the roles. She was a fierce sort of anti-racist at that time in Hollywood. And so I'm going with my girl, Lucy.
All right, Lucy, love Lucy. All right, we're gonna do All in the Family versus Maude.
Oh, tough. That's so tough. I like them both. Maude is a spinoff of All in the Family.
Yes, it is.
All in the Family is the more important show. I will give it that. But I would, if I'm going to turn on TV right now, I'd rather watch Maude because I love B. Arthur. I love B. Arthur.
You can't. She's the perfect straight woman in a way.
Yes, she's awesome, hilarious. I love Maude.
Okay, so this show right here is the complete opposite. You have the Jeffersons versus Good Times.
Oh, you're giving me really hard ones. I like the Jeffersons. I have to go Good Times. I feel like I really like the ensemble cast in Good Times. It's based here in Chicago, so that gives it a little bump for me being a Chicago girl. So I got to go Good Times. That's tough too, though, because Jeffersons is an iconic show.
Oh man, I gotta go with the Jeffersons.
It's a very fair choice.
Marla Gibbs is my favorite. She another show the guy put up. Okay, you Designing Women or Murphy Brown?
Ooh, if Zach were here, he would never be able to choose. Tough. I'm gonna go with Designing Women, but that one was really hard. I'm gonna go with Designing Women again because I think there's a couple things about it. One, Designing Women was a unique show in that it was created by pretty much a single person, Linda Bloodworth Thomason. She created and wrote every single episode for the most part. I think there's only 2 in the entire run that's not written by her, which is rare for sitcoms. Most of the time, they're like a Frankenstein of a bunch of writers who wrote for different seasons. And I think she had a really interesting point of view. She was a strong writer using characters in the South to promote a lot of progressive ideas. And I think that was great. Love Murphy Brown too, but I'm going to give this round to Designing Women.
Okay, I go with Designing Women. Okay, Family Matters or Saved by the Bell?
Ooh, tough. Family Matters, another Chicago show. And I do love that about it. I've definitely watched more of Saved by the Bell than I have of Family Matters. If I were going to turn TV on right now and have to pick between one of those, I probably would pick Saved by the Bell. But it's a tough one because I do love Family Matters.
I mean, as big as Family Matters person I am, I love Saved by the Bell. I just remember watching it as a kid before I went to school. It came on every morning.
Yeah, the nostalgia's hard on that one. Yep.
Okay, let me see if I can give you a hard one, a really hard one. Okay, we'll do the best. We'll do the best of Betty White.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Mary Tyler Moore versus Golden Girls.
I love Mary Tyler Moore. It's a great show, and it's very, very important in history in terms of like letting women have their own show, be the lead of a show, not be married, all that kind of stuff. very important. I just love the Golden Girls. I got to go with Golden Girls on this one. It's a tough show to top.
Oh yeah, hands down, my favorite show of all time. So.
Yeah, it's great. It's a really tough one to top. Really tough one to top.
Hey,
so.
I got. All right, well, look, that's it right there for the game, man.
Awesome, that was very fun.
I think you did all right.
Well, thank you for putting it together. It was fun to play.
Oh man! So, hey, before we go, let everybody know who you is and your podcast and your show.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Jessica. I am the host of Because It Was On. I host it with my good buddy Zachary. Wasn't able to join us today, but he's a very funny guy. Highly recommend you guys check us out. So you can find us on anywhere you listen to podcasts, Because It Was On, or we're on TikTok. We're also on Instagram, also at Because It Was On. So come and join us. Come say hi to us if you like to talk about sitcoms. We're your folks. So come and see us.
Hey, I appreciate that. Hey, yo, let me tell you about who I am. It's like y'all don't already know. Hey, yo, this is your favorite big brother, little big brother, Eric G. Hey, yo, check out my podcast, Random Thoughts with Eric G, available now on all platforms and on YouTube. Go to my YouTube, y'all. Get them viewers up, man. I'm new to the YouTube world. Give me some subscribers, y'all. I need that. But anyway, man, I want to say, Jessica, thank you. Also, thanks to Zach. It was a great time. We had a great time. I know we've been communicating forever now.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for being patient with us.
I know it's all great. I just want to thank you. And like I tell everybody, I say all the time, you making my dreams come true. I really appreciate that. So let me go ahead and get myself out of here. Yo, this is your brother, Eric G. And like I always say, God bless you. Peace.